Today is 8 March 2021, and it happens to be International Women's Day. Some of you know that I wear different caps. I started my career as a civil engineer, building infrastructure in different parts of the world. And then I transformed myself over time to include in my toolkit biomimicry, and then ethical artificial intelligence, future of work, etc. Today, I just want to reflect on my role as an engineer, especially as it relates to improvement of gender issues. In my location, we've just gone over the second wave of COVID-19, and everyone is talking about building back better. And of course, this should include building back with better gender equity. And I just want to reflect on a few issues. Probably some of you may not realize how much of an influence an engineer has, especially on gender issues. Take, for instance, fashion, which most women may think is actually dictated from Milan or some other international fashion house. But the way your built environment is designed and constructed will impact on what you're going to wear when you open that wardrobe. For example, if the pavement outside is rough and not uniform, you are not going to be able to wear those high heels, your stilettos. You probably can just wear them when you are in a building with a nice flat floor and maybe in your car. Even if you are inside the building, whether you are wearing a jersey or you take off the jacket, it's largely to do with the heating, the ventilation, the air conditioning that the engineers have put in place. So they do determine what you are going to wear. But not just that. Think about that day when you went out with your family to the mall. And if you have been observant like me, you will have noticed that it doesn't matter really whether you're in the US, Europe, Africa. When you go to the mall, the men will waltz into the toilet and within a minute they're out. But the women and children will be queuing. Ever wondered what is the reason for this? I'll tell you today. The majority of our architects are old males, and they often don't think about gender equity. So when they allocate, say, 10 chambers in a mall, in the ablution facilities, they will allocate the same number for women. Not realizing, of course, that men also have the urinary. And the women, not only are they doing what the men are also doing in terms of their nature calls, women often go there with children who also need to take care of their nature calls. But beyond that, women also have to take care of their feminine hygiene needs, which takes an extra time. So if you're going to put 10 chambers for men and 10 chambers for women, you are almost trebling, if not quadrupling, the time that the women are going to spend in the bathroom. I recall recently listening to a radio interview with a veteran actress, and she was reminiscing about the type of clothing they were wearing when they were teenage girls. And she says, for instance, when it comes to pulling socks, she said they didn't bother with pulling socks because the types of toilets they were using were squat toilets, and it was just cumbersome to be wearing pulling socks when you have to use a squat toilet, which didn't have a chamber to sit on. You can clearly see that the infrastructure that is provided by engineers determines a lot of things, even when it comes to safety and security. This is mainly so in informal settlements or other places where communities share public facilities such as toilets. So depending on how the toilets are built, where they are located, the type of lighting that is provided at night, that will determine whether the women are safe going to those toilets outside. Quite often in unsafe areas, women are afraid to be robbed or even to be sexually abused. So next time you think about the built environment, especially to my fellow engineers, architects, planners, etc., do reflect on the impact that we are creating. On this International Women's Day, let's think about how post-COVID we're going to rebuild not just better, but with improved gender equity. My name is Gamehle Spanda. Thank you.